So I'm painting with this charcoal, liquid charcoal material, and believe it or not, this is going to be a portrait of Christ. Doesn't look like it yet, but it might look like it later. We'll see. I like those drips that are going on with this liquid charcoal. I haven't had too much experience with it, but we're going to see how much of the drawing we could actually create with just this painting method. Or painting. I think I still consider it a charcoal drawing because we're here on this is some Arches watercolor paper, some really heavy stuff, pretty much the heaviest stuff I could find, and allows me to get a little bit more aggressive and with the amount of water, the amount of liquid charcoal to get it on there. And come back in with some actual charcoal too. Define details, create more of an atmosphere with the piece. This makes a mess, but we can clean up the mess later. It's funny, sometimes people are like, that's not what Jesus looked like. And I'm like, you don't know what Jesus looked like, so I don't know either. So I'm gonna draw what I kind of want anyway. I know, I get it, like we don't know what he looked like, which is I think kind of a cool thing, but I think though it's the most important when I'm doing these Christ depictions is you know who it's supposed to be. It's not necessarily what did he look like, it's who is it, right? That's what I want to call attention to. Who's the guy I'm drawing? And if you know that it's Christ, and if you know it's supposed to be, it's enough for me. Gets you thinking about him, right? That's what I would prefer. The focus is on him, not on me. I'm not claiming this is exactly what he looked like. I'm not claiming he even looked close to this. But I enjoy drawing him anyway. Drawing and painting. I'm starting to wonder if I should just have it like really kind of just drip down in these areas and then just really draw it out up here. That might be pretty cool. That might look more interesting than finishing out the drawing in the entire place, I think. So we're gonna go for that. This thorn crown is gonna look pretty cool with this liquid charcoal method. I'm actually getting this liquid charcoal all over my new hoodie. We just dropped these and are currently dropping these hoodies at the Mad Charcoal shop, madcharcoalshop.com. And if you want yours, it says Mad up here in the front, and then Mad Charcoal on the back with a cool sketch that I made. And if you find it interesting, they're available there. It's a really cool, heavyweight, like high quality hoodie. All right, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Because you kind of got to be delicate with this material almost. You can't overwork it. You can't just keep layering it on like normal charcoal. But I think we're at a spot that can totally work with. So let's take this 50-year-old paper towel. Just kidding. But this thing is gross and old and I need to swap this poor thing out. It's done its time. It's done more than its time. That's cool. I'm liking that. Some of the wet areas of the charcoal are wiping away and the drier, darker areas are remaining. So it's creating this really cool texture. Now I'm taking this pan pastel with a sponge. Just gonna tone this to like a gray. Dropped it, don't need it. Let's see. Piece of charcoal will do. Kind of this is a hard charcoal. Let's go with a medium. Here's a medium one right here. Actually, you know what? This sketching pastel by Pacific Arc. That was my phone, sorry. This sketching pastel by Pacific Arc is actually awesome material to work with. It's different than charcoal in the way that it's actually a lot darker and it blends more. It's got this clay-like material and quality to it, which I think is super cool. You'll see what I mean as I draw with it. A lot of people sometimes think I'm using charcoal when I'm using a ton of different materials, including charcoal in the drawing. So by the end of it, I consider it a charcoal drawing because you can't really differentiate what was used where, but it's all just black powdery art material. And as I've recently found out, this liquid charcoal doesn't really erase. So I'll be coming back in this with some white pastel and chalk material to heighten the drawing and not to erase out all that much. Where I'm going to lighten the piece. Be a little more chaotic up here. Don't add some interest up there. Emphasize some of these thorns. It's getting pretty powerful, I think. Cool. Let's blend that pastel out a little bit. And I'm going to take my kneaded eraser, which is right exactly where I left it, right here. Okay. Just to lighten some areas. Like I said, this charcoal, liquid charcoal stuff doesn't really erase out, which is okay, but I want to remove some of that charcoal dust in the areas that I'm going to lighten up. I'm going to lighten up with some white chalk or white pastel. You know, sometimes it's interesting. I'll pick up, I'll find some, so I'll try with this white stuff right here. I don't know, I think this is Conte. I kind of see that it says Conte, but sometimes I don't know if I'm drawing with chalk or pastel or what people sometimes call white charcoal, which doesn't really technically exist. Because when you burn wood, that's how you get charcoal. You can't burn wood and make it white, you know? So a lot of times I don't know exactly what I'm working with, but I kind of recognize, okay, this stuff is more, it's softer, or it's a little bit harder, or it's a little bit more clay-like. And I just kind of go with the flow with that. Sometimes even with the same thing with charcoal, I'll pick up a charcoal piece and I have no idea if that's like a sketching pastel or if that's a soft charcoal, or like, I do know if it's a willow or vine charcoal compared to a compressed charcoal though. That's pretty obvious when I pick it up. I can just see the material, but it's harder to tell the other stuff, like if it's a hard charcoal to a soft charcoal that's compressed. So it's a fun fact. Sometimes I don't know what I'm drawing with technically, but most of the time I do know. Like this is Conte, I could already tell, and it says Conte on it. White Conte, which is, I think, a clay-like Conte crayon, almost like a It's like a pastel. I would compare it to pastel closer than anything else, in my opinion, in my book. We'll do some highlights here on the thorns and the crown. Just blend that out, just touching it up. And then a little bit of light hitting here and the facial hair. And put it here. This lower lip is catching light right there. And just a touch of light right here on the upper eyelid in the shadow area. Maybe the background is showing through just a tiny bit there on the between the crown of thorns. We can kind of make that illusion by making gaps like that. This is woodless charcoal. I think I made a video with this actual thing once, a long time ago. I found it at the Dollar Tree or the dollar store. And I was like a Dollar Tree drawing I did once, which is kind of funny. A long time ago, one of my first YouTube videos I think it was, or one of my original ones. And don't go back and watch it because it's just a headache to watch. I'm like holding a camera terribly. And I was like, what kind of drawing can I make with dollar store materials? And it was all just dollar store materials. And turns out it was okay. It wasn't as nice as I thought it'd come out, but it almost didn't matter what materials you work with. It's a similar style. This way I could just sharpen up some of the, with this material I could sharpen up some of the proportions and details of the shadows. Kind of speak to the expression a little bit of the piece. The top eyelid line. There. See, I lost that highlight here. That should have been way brighter. So let's bring that back. So I'll give you guys a shameless plug real quick just because my manager tells me to. Just kidding. But I actually do sell my artwork for those of you guys that are wondering. I do have a gallery that I'm a part of in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's called the Marshall Gallery. I am in a gallery in New York City, in Manhattan. It's called the Kraus Gallery with a K. And you can see my artwork there in person in those two places. We're on the works with something in LA. I'm coming up soon. But besides that, if you want to buy my artwork, especially the drawings, just visit madcharcoalshop.com and you can see that my artwork is available there. When I do print drops, which is on occasion, they'll be available through there. And also art materials and merch and all those extra goodies, and including my drawing course is also available through there. And I have some more drawing course stuff coming out as well that I'm really excited about, like Pan Pastel, like a full drawing course on just using Pan Pastel, which is so many people are profoundly excited about Pan Pastel. They just like it a lot. And they're always like, what is that? What is that shovel you're drawing with? Or what is that sword or knife, or I don't know what they say. But, so I teach some of that, and like a gesture drawing, quick drawing, portrait drawing course as well will come out soon with a full-on mastering charcoal tutorial as well, which will be available through that. So that's all the stuff that you can be a part of with Mad Charcoal if you guys are feeling like it. But I know a lot of you don't really know that sometimes, and I kind of don't want to push it on you, but I think it's cool to know. I'm just gonna do what you want, draw along and hang out, but I think this is looking pretty cool. I think it's pretty much done. Let me take this old blending stump, and I think there's a mark right there. So mark that in. It's just old and dirty, so I could actually kind of draw with it, you know? All right, that's my latest depiction of Christ. Let me know if you guys like it. I think it looks pretty cool. This was very experimental. I did not know what direction it was going to go, but I'm pretty happy with it.